Hello, everyone that's joined. We're happy that you're here. Just hang tight. We'll start right at the top of the hour. Paul and Corey, your backgrounds match.
Paul stole mine.
It's just the best one. Corey just makes the best decisions, so follow her lead.
I did make one background that I liked the best.
That's the one?
Yes, this is the one that I like the best.
Everybody, thank you for being here. We're just going to start at the top of the hour, so hang tight. All right, it is the top of the hour, so we're going to get started. Thank you for joining us and participating in this webinar. This webinar is called How to Build a Chatbot for Learning Using the Mobile Coach Platform. My name is Vince Hahn. I'll introduce myself in a second here, but let's start with just some housekeeping. All of you will receive a link to this recording after the webinar is completed. I would encourage you to ask lots of questions. We'll keep an eye on the chat function. You can also use the Q&A function. You can also raise your hand and we'll try to keep an eye out on that. There will be time for questions at the end, but if you've got a question while we're showing things and working on stuff on screen, feel free to ask. Just for an icebreaker, if everyone in the chat wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves, telling us where you're zooming in from, maybe what company you work for or what other information you'd like to share, that would be great. Just to, I think it's always nice to get a sense of who's here. And so I will start introducing myself. I'm Vince Hahn. I'm the founder of Mobile Coach, and I'm zooming in from our offices in Provo, Utah. I also asked Paul and Corey, who will introduce themselves here in a minute, to share their favorite season of the year. And I will say that that came to mind just because beautiful fall leaves here in Provo, Utah. And you might think that I'm going to say fall, but summer is my favorite time of the year. So Paul, why don't we go to you, introduce yourself, and then Corey.
Thanks, Vince. Yeah, so I'm Paul Bills. I'm the director of chatbot design here at Mobile Coach. I've worked with Vince for a long time. I'm also from zooming in from the Provo offices of Mobile Coach. I'm happy to be here. And I was also going to say summer. It's just all the most fun stuff happens in summer. Nothing against the other seasons. They're also great. But if I have to pick a favorite, I would always say summer.
Very diplomatic, Paul.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Corey Richards. I manage our partner relationships and marketing at Mobile Coach. And I am zooming in from Idaho. And my favorite season is fall, which feels really frustrating this year because we actually got snow 2 days ago that is still on the ground. And we have another snow forecasted for tonight. So I feel like we missed our entire fall. We're already at winter here.
Well, there's still time. There's still time, Corey. Well, it's a pleasure for the three of us to be presenting today. And I'm just scrolling through the chat. It's great and really fun to see where people are dialing in from all over the world. So welcome, and especially colleagues and friends in Europe. So late in the evening there. So we appreciate you taking some time to join us today. So I'm going to start today's webinar with a poll question. Has your organization deployed a chatbot for learning? There's two really complicated answers, yes or no. So take a minute and answer the poll. And I wanted to get this started just to, again, for us as a group to see who our audience is here. Have you had experience with chatbots yet or not? And so it looks like we've had A lot of 100% answered. Thank you. So I'm going to end the poll and share results so you can see. So there's 2 of you that have had experience and 27 of you that have not had experience. So this is great. For the 2 of you that have had experience, please feel free to share your experiences as we go through today's webinar. And for the 27 of you, hopefully you're here because you're wondering what this is all about. And as you have questions, please ask away. So let's get started at first by asking ourselves, what is a chatbot for learning? Paul, I'll pick on you to get started. Define for us, what is a chatbot for learning?
Yeah, thanks, Vince. So a chatbot for learning is a specific type of chatbot that helps people know better, do better, or be better. So it's a chatbot that has an ongoing relationship with an end user, whoever that may be, and is either following up on existing training or sometimes even presenting original training right through the chatbot. So we at Mobile Coach do a lot of training reinforcement chatbots. That's probably the most popular type of chatbot for learning. So imagine going to an in-person learning or a virtual training, and at the end, your instructor says, text this keyword to this phone number or click this link and start talking to our chatbot. Then that chatbot is smart about the content of that training that you just had, but it's going to follow up with you for the next 1 to 3 months, usually, asking you questions, checking your confidence level, sometimes even quizzing you and scoring you on your knowledge. So anytime you're having an ongoing conversation about a skill you're trying to learn or a content set you want to internalize, that's a chatbot for learning. There's lots of different use cases. Another common use case is onboarding. So employees coming into an organization, having an ongoing conversation with the chatbot, just to make sure they get all the most important things to know about the organization and about their role. But like I said, you could also deliver the training in the chatbot. So you could have a mini course in the chatbot itself where the chatbot is actually presenting original information for the very first time to the end user. But in every case, there's that ongoing dialogue and a real relationship built there where the end user comes to trust and depend on this chatbot for that certain set of content, whatever that may be, to help them learn it, internalize it, and live it in their everyday lives.
So let me just ask again, just so we're clear on that.
Mhm.
When you say develop a relationship with this chatbot, what is it?
Yeah,
People
so
really develop a relationship with a computer?
definitely, yeah.
Aren't there movies made about this stuff?
So not like the movies you've seen, hopefully, although sometimes we get some interesting messages. But what I mean by relationship is that it's a collegial relationship. You come to depend on that chatbot and expect those messages to help you with that specific area. So if you're trying to learn a new language, you come to trust that chatbot will be there for you on a daily basis to help you practice and keep you moving forward. So that's what I mean by relationship. You come to expect it and trust it and want to work with it. And hopefully, if the chatbot for learning is doing its job, you're getting excited that you have this helper with you at all times to help you really nail whatever content you're trying to understand.
Yeah, when I think about this topic, I talk to a lot of people about chatbots, and one reason I wanted to sort of pick on this this idea of a relationship is that a lot of us, when we hear the word chatbot, we think about like a very transactional user experience. And what I mean by that is a lot of us as consumers will go to some website, like maybe your bank's website or your credit card's website, or a lot of times, for those of us that have scheduled COVID tests, a lot of times you go to a website and a chatbot will actually do that for you. I don't really think of those experiences as building a relationship with the chatbot because they're very transactional. You ask your question, you do your task, then you navigate away from that website, and then you never really think about the chatbot ever again. But what you're describing, Paul, is actually having like a persistent connect, almost like saving a friend's number in my phone so I can talk to them, as you say, for a month or 2 months or 3 months. That's really what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, definitely. It just like a colleague at work, you come to depend on this is where I go for this information or for this kind of help. That kind of relationship, absolutely, you can have with the chatbot.
I want to chime in on that one. I think so. The user experiences that you've described, Paul, are like a performance support chatbot, or sorry, an onboarding or a training reinforcement. And my brain went to something like a performance support or an acronym chatbot, something that is there maybe on Teams or on SMS that I can ask a question anytime. So I can rely on to get help, information when I need it, that might be hard to find other places, or it might require me asking someone else, which takes time. And I might be embarrassed to ask the same acronym over and over again. Or I can imagine with an acronym bot, I'm in a meeting, there are a lot of acronyms being thrown around that I have no idea what they mean. And I just pull up the chatbot and I say, hey, what is this acronym? What does this mean? And just in the flow of that meeting, I get the answers and I'm able to participate without slowing anyone down or being shy about not knowing the answer to something.
I love that example, Corey, because it underscores a lot of people are interested in chatbots because maybe it's new technology, but we shouldn't use technology just for technology's sake. It's good to back up and say, well, why is this technology good? Or in what use cases is this technology helpful? And with a chatbot, one of the biggest value propositions is that it's frictionless. You don't have to download software. You want to deploy the chatbot where people already are. Whether we like to admit it or not, a lot of technology that we deploy to support learners has friction involved. Where's that link to that LMS? What's my username again? What's my password again? And all those steps that we're asking people to take can be a deterrent to engagement. And with a chatbot, it really mitigates those issues because it's such a frictionless experience. So I'm a pretty visual person. I'm sure a lot of us on this webinar as well. So I'd like to see some examples. And so let's see, Paul, well, this is a little staged because he should know that at this point, I'm going to ask him to give us a demo of an example of a reinforcement chatbot. And then Corey's going to show us another example so we can just kind of see what these things look like.
Yes, and I am prepared. Don't worry, Vince.
All right,
so here we go. I'm going to show.
It would have been awkward if you weren't.
Yeah. I'm going to show a training reinforcement chatbot on Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is a platform that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's become even more popular in the last 12 months, especially. And a chatbot can exist on Microsoft Teams right here in the chat panel. So, here I have Corey as a colleague that I can talk to on Teams, but I can also have chatbots right in this chat list. And actually, Teams does something that I kind of like, where it has this hexagon portrait for a chatbot versus a circle portrait for a person. So, it's really clear who you're dealing with in any case. So here I have Sam, a training reinforcement chatbot. So I got here by just clicking a link. So Teams also makes it really easy where you can just share a single link. When you click on it, it prompts you to open your Microsoft Teams and come right to this chat. So here I am. I clicked that link. I said hello, and I got my first message back. So let's talk to Sam. So this is just a little demo. Sam offers me a communications workshop, unconscious bias e-learning, coaching workshop, or safety training. I'm going to go right for that letter A. So I type A, hit enter, and then Sam will take just a couple seconds and then take me through this example. And there he is. So it's been a week since our workshop on communications. So again, this is just demoing a full experience. Let's check what you remember. Which of these is a better question? A, what do you think? Or B, don't you agree? So in this scenario, we're pretending I've been to a workshop on better communication. This letter A looks like a better, more open question that isn't, biasing the listener. So I'm going to pick A and see what feedback Sam gives me.
I thought B was better. Don't you agree?
Well, you need to go to this communications workshop. That'll be our next webinar. So he says, that's right. The question is more open-ended and makes it safe for the other person to say what's on their mind. Take a minute, watch this video for tips on how to ask better open-ended questions. So this link would take me out to a video I could actually watch, and that would reinforce what I've learned in this workshop that I attended in this scenario. And then this demo, to be more useful for me, actually circles back around and gives me the options again. So I could try different avenues and see different ways that a chatbot could work for training reinforcement. But I'll stop there for now. So that's a very brief example, but that shows you how it could work for reinforcement.
Yeah, that's great. And what I like about what you're showing there, because it is just chatting. And another thing I really like about chatbots is that in terms of like software, and that's my background is building software, it doesn't really break. And what I mean by that is like, if I'm in a meeting or if my computer shut down and the chatbot's asking me a question, it's okay. Just as if a colleague were to message me, when I'm ready to look at my messages, there's the chatbot. And so I can, consistently have this engagement. It's not relying on me to log back into some learning portal in order to continue the engagement. And I really like that this demo has a link to it. And so you can imagine that there might be times where you'll want to present more beefier content than what fits in a message bubble. So that's where you can link out to videos or full-blown web pages or other more immersive media experiences. So that's a way you can blend the advantage of the convenience of a chatbot with, maybe experiences that you have as an organization that are more multimedia oriented. So great demo. And by the way, a little spoiler alert, and maybe we can ask our colleague Sterling to put this in the chat. But if you go to mobilecoach.com/demo, you can actually find this demo and give it a try yourself. So great example, Paul. And I'm also curious if you could put in the chat, everybody. Does your organization use Microsoft Teams or Slack or WebEx Teams? What workplace collaboration tool does your organization use? And I'll just keep an eye on it because I'm curious to see if there are any collaboration tools that you use that don't support chatbots. That would be very surprising to me. Looks like Teams is very, very popular. So with that, hey, Corey, can you show us a demo on a platform that's not Microsoft Teams?
Yes. So I'm going to show a demo on SMS actually, so on my phone. So I'll share my screen. And I saw someone mention in the chat that they were curious if you could host it on multiple platforms. So maybe some people Teams works, some people SMS works or web or something else. And I just wanted to say, yes, you can. So you could have it on multiple channels if you wanted to. And this one, so I'm going to show off a chatbot on SMS. So I'm going to text hi to get started. And this is a gamification demo.
So Corey, just to be clear, sorry to interrupt you. This is live on your phone. So you're sharing your phone?
Yep, I'm on my phone right now.
Brave of you. Hopefully you won't have any glitches.
Yes, and hopefully I don't get any weird notifications, but I'll be brave. Okay, so I'm on my phone. This is the gamification demo. It said hi back to me and it asked me for my name. So I'll send it my name. And I wanted to show this because it shows several different parts of a potential user experience that I think are really interesting for learning. So the first thing is this is going to ask me a series of questions. So this is a trivia game. I think it's a really fun way to show some features of a chatbot and also play trivia. And it's also telling me that it will give me points, and then there are multiple levels. So I'm trying out some gamification as well as some quizzing. So we'll see later how that works, but let's go to my first question. So which natural disaster is measured with a Richter scale? I am going to respond B for earthquakes. We'll see. I'm 90% sure that's right.
I think you're 100% sure you're that.
I may have done this demo before, but yep, I did it. Okay, so I've just earned 20 points. So the chatbot is tallying my points for me. And I also wanted to point out that this has some emojis going on. So we have an explosion emoji and a soccer emoji. So this is a great way to add in some personality and to create a more engaging conversation, as long as this matches with the users, your company, and the use case. But for a trivia demo, I think emojis make it really fun. Okay, I do know the correct answer is A, 11, but I'm going to say 2. Just throw it off, see what happens when I get a question wrong. Yes, Mitch, we can do teams with points and emojis. So all of this is available on other platforms as well. And I got it wrong, but it still gave me 10 points. So my point total is now 30. And
Who's the instructional designer behind this?
I may have made
right point. You can't get points for a wrong answer.
You want to encourage participation.
Okay. Touche.
Okay, and then if I click on this link, we actually have a leaderboard. So we're keeping track of how I'm doing and how everyone else who's played this trivia game is doing. Mark is doing stellar. I feel like he must have gotten a perfect score. And then if I go back to my phone, I'm going to answer one more question. So primary ingredient in hummus is chickpeas. I may make hummus. Okay, and then I wanted to show you this part. So once my phone, okay, so I got my points. I got it right, so I earned another 20. So this is now showing the levels. So I've passed level 1, so this would now level me up to level 2. This link actually takes me to a little badge that I just won, and then I could continue on and do harder trivia. And if I hadn't answered enough right, I would have stayed on the previous level. So this also is showing how we can adapt the learning to make sure that people are passing off information and showing competency in the chatbot. Okay, those are all the things I wanted to point out.
Hey, that's a great demo. And another little hint for you that are joining us. On the mobilecoach.com/demo page, you can find this demo as well. So I think under the gamification section, but just bookmark it. Don't do it now because we're going to continue to show you stuff, and I'd hate for you to miss it because we're moving fast. So thank you, Paul and Corey. Now, thank you for those that are asking questions. Keep asking questions in the chat as you have them, and we're going to keep trucking along here, and we'll do our best to answer your questions as you have them. Now, you've seen these end user experiences. The whole point of the webinar is how do you build these? And there are some questions already, like how do you build it and put it on the web or put it on Teams? And that's what we're going to show you now. So here's what I'm going to do. That's my turn to share my screen. This is where now the brain starts working overdrive to multitask. Something I could do much better when I was younger. Okay, so here we go. Share screen. All right, so now what you're seeing, actually, let me pause my screen because I want to log in with my other account. So the Mobile Coach platform is an authoring tool where you can author lots of different kinds of chatbots, especially the kinds that you've seen today, and then you can deploy them on one or many channels. So that's why we exist. And really anyone can learn how to do this. Paul and Corey, I would say, are master chatbot designers. And as far as I know, I don't think they've taken any computer science classes or engineering classes, and they have learned how to do this very, very well. So let's show you a little bit of the platform. So what you're seeing now on my screen is the Mobile Coach platform. So when you log in, there's users, chatbots, there's support tab, and what I'm showing you now is the script library. In the script library, we have 65 different example chatbots that you can browse and then import into your instance to give you a huge head start in designing a chatbot. I'm going to show you 3 examples, and then as a group, we're going to vote which one we want to configure together. So the first one I want to show you is a training reinforcement example. And I've got this one right here I wanted to show you. This training reinforcement chatbot, the description said it's a 4-week chatbot to support a specific training, seminar, or class, checks in 3 times a week. All right, let's check it out. So when I click on it, I get to see the script. Now, you kind of have to learn how to read chatbot script with the platform, but it's not too hard to do. So let's check it out here. This chatbot, the first message is, "Hi, I'm BrainyBot, your personal support chatbot for training name." So I can see, so if I use this, I can customize it to the training program that I want to use to support. Over the next month, I'll send you text to support the training. Each week, I'll give you a new challenge to apply your training. If you want to end, just text stop. Okay, that sounds great. What should I call you? It's asking for my name. Then if I go and kind of scan through this script, I can see over here in the calendaring column that week 1 on Monday, it's sending this message, and then week 1 on Friday, it's sending another message. So a couple times a week. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good cadence. So you could see that I could read through this whole thing and get an idea for what this chatbot can do. So pretty straightforward. So that's the training reinforcement chatbot. So if you want to see us make this live, that's option 1. So keep that in mind. We're going to vote between 1, 2, or 3. Let me show you option 2. Option 2 is onboarding. So I'm going to choose this one, new employee onboarding, 4-week chatbot to support onboarding of new employees, checks in 3 times a week. You can see I'm a fan for 3 times a week. So here's this one, very similar layout. Welcome to XYZ Enterprises. So I can see that's in brackets. I could replace that with my company name. I'm Coach Neil. That seems pretty clever. Did you catch that? New employee onboarding, Neil. And I'm here to help you get your bearings during your first month. So here's some, it's just, you can, I don't have to read this for you. You can sort of glance through what the different messages are. So if you're interested in onboarding and seeing how this would come alive, then vote for new employee onboarding. And the last candidate for our little exercise, I'm going to go down to the learning category in our script library. And we have this unconscious bias mini course, a 1-week mini course that aims to raise the user's awareness of potential unconscious bias and share some techniques to address unconscious biases in the workplace. So let me click on that so you can get a sense of what this looks like. So hello, welcome to this mini course on unconscious bias. My goal is to help you more effectively recognize bias, consider ways to broaden your view. We'll spend about 5 minutes together a day for the next week, all right? Gives me a scenario. It tells me that everybody holds unconscious biases. And then, here's a list of the biases that it will cover: affinity, confirmation, attribution, conformity, halo and horns, appearance, and name. Okay, so you kind of get a sense, and we're kind of doing this fast, but you get a sense of these 3 different use cases. So I'm now going to launch a poll. Poll number 2. Here's where the multitasking comes in. So see if I can pull it off. I think I did. You should see a poll. You can vote for reinforcement, mini course, or onboarding. And then we'll see which one wins, and then we'll do that one. And if you're interested in all 3, there's a way for you to check them all out, which we'll explain at the end of the webinar today. But just for time's sake, we'll do one of them. So, okay, I think we've all voted. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. So reinforcement won, just 46% of you, and then mini course was 2nd, onboarding was 3rd. So we'll do reinforcement. Great, so I'm going to stop sharing the poll and let's get to it. Go back to my script library, go to reinforcement, go to the one that I was looking at, which is this one. So over here, of course, now this might go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. You would need an account to the Mobile Coach platform. You can see I'm logged in. And so when I click on import, it's going to import it into my account on the Mobile Coach platform. So I'm going to click on import, create a chatbot, and there it is, training reinforcement. So when I click on it, voila, I get my script in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just some edits so you can get a sense of what using our platform is like. So I actually think BrainyBot's a little bit of a nerdy name. So I'm going to double click on that and go with the unnerdy name of Luke.
Very unnerdy. Great choice.
Thank you. And let's see. Let's say that I want to use this chatbot now. See, now that I've imported it, I can edit it to suit my needs. So let's say that I've got a active listening course that I want to use this for. So I'll replace this with active listening. I should mention that any language you can type in, you can author in. So we're doing English today, but we can support multiple languages as well. So all I did was edit those things, and if I click out of it, it saves. It's that easy, pretty easy to do. The next thing I want to do, it says here, so I can kind of imagine what this user experience is like. And if I want to get a better sense of what this user experience is like, I can actually click on this preview link. Let me do that. So, hey, look, my edits worked. So I can get a sense of what this has looked like. And now the chatbot says, what should I call you? I'm not crazy about that wording. So I'm going to say, what is your first name? Maybe I don't really need to know what someone's full name is. Now, in today's webinar, we're not going to take the time to go through all the different features. There's a way for you to learn all the features. So I'll just kind of start configuring, and you can get a sense of what this is like. But if the chatbot asks the user, what is your first name, we want to be able to save what their answer is. And so when I click on the conditions and actions column, what this is saying is, okay, the user's response, I'm going to save it. And I actually want to save it into a user field. And instead of saving it under the full name, I want to save it as the first name. Why? Because I'm asking them what their first name is. Paul and Corey, do you see this as a pretty common technique in asking for a chatbot to know what the user's name is?
Definitely. And I think this actually is a great example. It's just repeating someone's name makes them feel an affinity to the chatbot. So I think it really helps reinforce the relationship, because it's not just a generic chatbot, it's someone that knows you and has a relationship.
Yeah. So here, you can kind of follow along with the logic. What is your first name? The user presumably would say their name. And then you can see this is in brackets right here. So based on what they say, so if I say Vince, then this next message would say, got it, Vince. And that's what Corey's talking about. It would feel very personal. And I should also mention that we recommend that you name your chatbot. There are some cases where having it stay anonymous and feel like the computer might be appropriate. But in a lot of chatbot for learning user experiences, creating a name for your chatbot like Luke or some other name just helps your people, your audience, connect with the chatbot a little bit better. Going back to the whole relationship aspect that we were talking about earlier. So got it, Vince, nice to meet you. One last question for you. What's your biggest takeaway from the training? So you could see what I would do now that I've imported this into my instance. I would systematically just go through this whole script and make the edits that I want based on my my active listening course. I could even change maybe the time that something's being sent. So if I don't want it on a Monday, I want it on a Tuesday, I can edit those. So hopefully you get a sense of what that would be like. Now that it's actually active and I'm authoring it, how then would we put it onto a Teams or to a web page or to like a phone number? We're going to go over that, but I'm going to let Paul go over that, because now that you get a sense of what this authoring is like, we would like to create a chatbot from scratch all together. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and have Paul take over, and he's going to lead us through a group chatbot creating experience.
All right. And so this experience will also address, someone asked in the chat a little earlier, everything we've shown so far has been the chatbot pushing information out. This chatbot will be generating together is the pull. The opposite of that is the user able to ask a question and get information. And Corey also mentioned this use case as well that we're going to be building. We are going to be building an acronym chatbot. So we want to build a chatbot for new instructional designers or new learning and development professionals. There's a lot of acronyms that are general to the industry that someone new might want help looking up and remembering. So that's what we're going to do together. So the first thing I'm going to do is in the chat, I'm going to put
Paul, can I just, sorry to interrupt you. So we are excited about doing this. And even though this is a very contextual topic for all of us, our intent really is to, after we build this together, to let you share this with your teams and with any new instructional designer. So please put on your best thinking caps as we do this together, because this is going to go out there into the internet as a resource for brand new instructional designers. And if you contribute, we want to be able to tag you and give you attribution that you helped author this chatbot. So yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that we were clear. This is not an activity just for our little webinar here, but we want to build something together for the world.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. So here we go. I am putting in the chat here, and I'll put it in a couple times, a link to a Google form that simply asks you two questions. What is an acronym you want to put in, and what is the definition of that acronym? So the first field, you'll put in the letters, something like LMS. Then in the second field, you'll put in what that acronym means, like Learning Management System. And then after you submit, there is a link at the end to submit another response. So if you have multiple acronyms you want in our chatbot, go ahead and put them in there. I imagine there will be some repeats, but that's okay. We'll deal with that just fine. But please go ahead and drop in those acronyms now. So go ahead and fill out that Google form multiple times if you want. And once we've given some time for that, what I'll do is I'll just grab all the acronyms we have, and I'll be able to upload them to a little chatbot I've made, and I'll show you how that works, and then we'll be able to all use it, just like Vince said.
Hey, Paul, what channels are we going to make this available in?
So this one we're going to have on web, which also answers a question from the chat. We do want to show more about web, but it'll also be on SMS and Microsoft Teams.
So web, SMS, and Microsoft Teams. And so, I think I just saw boy, the chat goes by so fast, but I think somebody just mentioned that they're a brand new instructional designer. Welcome to instructional designing. That's Emily. There you are. Awesome. And so if someone like Emily, when they're job searching or in an interview, and maybe someone asks them about a acronym and you're not quite sure what it is, this will be a resource for you. So if you bookmark the Teams chatbot or the SMS or the web widget, you can just quickly ask it the acronym, and hopefully collectively we will have the answer for you.
And Andrea, sorry to hear that the Google form is blocked at your company. You could put in just the chat, an acronym, and we can copy it over for you if you want.
Are we getting responses, Paul? Can you tell?
Yes, so let me actually share my screen here, and you can see that the list is building rapidly. So I'll share my whole screen. See it. Yeah, so here we go.
Wow, way to go, guys. That's cool.
Yeah, so notice we do have some repeats, but that'll be just fine. Actually, our chatbot will deal with that, no problem. Yeah, so we're already up to 45. So we'll just give it one more minute, just a little bit more time if people want to add more. Again, if it doesn't work for some reason, yeah, you can put them in the chat. Thanks, Andrea. Awesome. We'll pull those in, and then we'll create this chatbot. So actually,
Harvey made a contribution as well.
Yeah, let me pull these in here.
Okay, I'm grabbing Andrea's.
Oh, you got it. Okay, thank you.
There's so many acronyms. Why do we live in such an acronymistic world? I just forgot the word.
IDK events. Nice, Eric.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We'll continue to build on this. So if you have ideas later on, just let us know and we'll add on to it.
Perfect. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do with this. So I'm just so we have, we've isolated just the data we want. I'm going to copy paste to this other sheet. So I did have a few ready beforehand, but here I'm going to paste in all of our acronyms. So you can see all.
You have some ready beforehand because you didn't have enough faith in our webinar to come up with that.
Well, no, I did have to test it a few times, so I wanted to make sure things were working. And you'll notice up here, MCP Mobile Coach Platform. That one, that's not one that all instructional designers know yet, but we're hoping it's one all instructional designers know very soon. So here we go. I'm going to download it as a CSV. Our platform and several other technology platforms work with CSV, comma separated value files. I'm pretty friendly that way. So I am just going to save this acronym chatbot sheet 1. I'm going to override the one I had before. And then I go into the Mobile Coach platform. So here I have this chatbot that I've made before. And I'm going to show you a new feature we haven't really talked about yet in here in content. So in the chat, I've talked with a lot of people already about API connections. So that's all handled here. Vince has mentioned custom fields. So there's a lot your chatbot can do in the background with content. But today we're going to deal with the knowledge base. So I had my test knowledge base in there, but I'm going to just import the new knowledge base. I'm going to override what I had in there before. I'm going to take my acronym sheet 1. We're going to hit create, and it just imported all of our acronyms. So there's actually 3 pages in there. So great job, everybody. Thanks everybody for contributing. So then, because I have configured this chatbot already, it's actually already done. So let me show you a little bit what it's doing here. So we're running a special action called search knowledge base. So anytime the user is on this rule and sends in a message, we're using that message to search the knowledge base. And then it actually puts in all relevant results into a table. And then we're looking up in the search results table for the specific results we want. And then we're just going to return it as here's what I found, first title, first article. So it's a little bit technical, but let me just show you how it works in action. So I'm going to hit that same preview button that Vince showed us. And then one of the acronyms that I saw a couple times in there was ADDIE. So I'm going to say ADDIE, and instantly it comes back with analysis, design, develop, implement, evaluate. And then it just, so we could do more with this chatbot. So this acronym lookup could just be a feature of a larger chatbot that does more things. But for this demo, that's all it does. So it just loops through and lets you look up other acronyms. I think I saw ILT in there. We're going to look that up. Yep, instructor-led training. There it is. And so, yeah, because I did a little bit of pre-work, that's really all it took, was just uploading that new list. And so we could continue to expand and continue to upload updates, and it would just work. So if anyone wants to try it right now, let's show you this.
I just put it in the chat.
Perfect. Yeah. And then I'll show that on screen here. So this is what it looks like with a separate web widget. So this web widget, this window here, you can put anywhere on the screen on any web page you want. So it's just one little line of HTML code. You could have it appear as a collapsible pop-up on the right side, on the right corner, or the right side, or the left corner, or you can embed it like I've done here. And so this is what it looks like on the web. So especially this chatbot, this acronym lookup chatbot, could be really handy on the web. You could have just a bookmark, and when you're in a meeting or something, you could quickly open a new tab, come here, and you could say something like, "What is SCORM again?" And it would come right back and show you the definition of SCORM. And we focused on acronyms here, but one natural extension would just be terms and definitions. So, you could use some common terms that aren't necessarily acronyms, but something that you might not quite remember exactly what it means. You could put that in this knowledge base and it would work the same way, as long as the chatbot can match the user input to any existing entity in the knowledge base. It'll pull that out for you.
That's great.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to share one more cool feature. I am only showing the first result, but sometimes when you have a very large knowledge base, you might not be 100% confident that the first result is right every time. But we could, in the configuration, change that. We could show the first 3 results, and then the user could decide which one's the one they're looking for in this particular case. So I just wanted to emphasize it's not locked in to look just like this. You could customize it and change it in all kinds of ways.
That's great. I hope all of you, there's a couple of you that's saying this is cool. I think this is super cool. And some of you have asked questions or suggested features. This is a very simple version of the acronym bot, but can't like someone asked, can we have users add acronyms on the go? That's pretty easy to implement into here. So if you have ideas on how to make this acronym bot more useful for new instructional designers, please let us know. Let's build on it. You can see that the configuration in the Mobile Coach platform is pretty agile, so we can add new features. So ideas that you have, we would love to hear them, and we would welcome them. Certainly, yeah, there's a ton of possibilities here. So please feel free to use it, to share it. If you don't have those links again, I'll put them back into the chat. There's an SMS version. The SMS version, by the way, when you start it, you have to say hello or hi, and you have to text it first something, and then the chatbot will wake up. So it's that 8856 number in the chat, and then there's a link to Microsoft Teams and the web widget. I should also mention that if any of you are interested in having this chatbot live in some other channel for your organization, let us know. Well, we can see what we can do to add a different channel for you. In fact, Paul, we're kind of watching the clock, so I want to make sure that we have time for questions. But if you could go to the platform and let's just show the different channels that we support, just to give people an idea of what's available. If you could close out your chat window because we can see it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then I can see me too. Yeah. So here are the different chatbot channels that we support. Phone numbers means SMS. SMS can, and anywhere where we can procure a local phone number across the world, we can support SMS. The Azure bot service, that means Microsoft Teams. Some of you that are Microsoft people will recognize the Azure name. Custom means just what we can create custom channels for you. Facebook is either Messenger or Workplace. Google Chat. Line is a messaging app out there that's very popular in areas of the world. Rocket Chat. Signal, Slack, Telegram, Viber. Some of these you might recognize, some you might not. VK, Web Chat is this web widget, WebEx and WeChat. WhatsApp there on the bottom left, and Zoom. And we're continually adding to this list as messaging applications crop up all the time. That's part of our job, is to just make sure where your users are, you can deploy chatbots. So with that, what I'd like to do now is I'll share my screen. We're available until the top of the hour, but I wanted to show you one thing here. And then we're going to tackle questions. And please, if you've got questions that haven't been answered or you want more elaboration on any of the questions that you've asked that we've tried to answer through the chat, we're going to reserve the rest of the time to answer questions. But a couple things for those of you that have kind of got what you wanted and are looking to move on to your next meeting for the day. If you go to mobilecoach.com/workshop sign up, and let's have someone put this in the chat so it's easy for you. We are offering these free workshops where you get a sandbox account to the Mobile Coach platform, what you've seen today. You'll have someone walk you through learning how to do the configuration things that you saw us doing today. And then you get to play in your sandbox for 30 days. You also get a web widget that you can test your own chatbot and share with others. There are 5 different topics, because one thing about chatbot design is based on the topic, your chatbot user experience actually can be dramatically different from another one. And so there are 5 topics: coaching. I saw someone asking about coaching, so this would be a great workshop for you. Reinforcement, what we worked on today. FAQ, which is sort of similar to the acronym bot. Conversation simulator, and the course bot, microlearning. You can sign up for all 5, and there's hopefully a lot of time accommodations to accommodate your schedule. So please register for a chatbot. This is all free. Now, Mobile Coach is our platform. Just for a point of reference, some of you might be wondering, an actual official license to the Mobile Coach platform is $200 a month for the authoring license, just for a point of reference. And so, of course, anyone interested in an actual full-blown license, let us know. We'd be happy to accommodate that for you. That's, I think, the last housekeeping item is that As soon as the recording crunches, we will send you a link to the recording so you can rewatch this webinar, or feel free to share it with colleagues. So with that, let's take questions. Corey, have you been keeping an eye out on questions? Have there been questions that we haven't answered?
Yes, there are several. Okay, sorry, there was a couple that I scrolled through that I thought would be good.
While you're picking some out, I just saw Amy asked if there's pricing on our website. No, we do not have pricing on our website. Let me just talk a little bit about pricing in case some of you are wondering. So the authoring I mentioned is $200 a month for the author license. There is end user licensing pricing, and that sort of depends on whether you want to create a chatbot to support a single project with a finite number of users, or if you want an enterprise license to cover multiple chatbots across your whole enterprise. Since it gets a little complicated, we don't post that on our website, but if you reach out to me, vince@mobilecoach.com, I'd be happy to provide pricing to anyone that's interested. So that's vince@mobilecoach.com. In fact, let me put that in the chat. And also, I would love to connect. I think all of us would love to connect with all of you through LinkedIn. And so please find us on LinkedIn and connect with us. And that's another way to connect with us as well. So, all right, Corey, did you find some questions?
Okay, I think all of the questions that I'm noticing are all channel based. So we had a question about Yammer and Saba. I'm not familiar with that channel, but we had a couple people asking about channels that are not currently on our channel list. So if you want to talk about that.
Things like Saba or LMSs, one option you have is that if the LMS allows you to put in, to create a lot of LMSs allow you to put in like an iframe or put in some web widget, then you can put a web widget onto your LMS so that can be the user experience. We also support single sign-on. So if someone's signing on to the LMS, we can support the single sign-on, so the chatbot, even though it's a web widget, will recognize who you are. And so that's sometimes a nice option as well if you want it on some web-based system. That's true for HRIS systems, for CRMs as well.
Okay. And then we just got a question about reinforcement bots. Does the reinforcement chatbot push learning nuggets to learning at a preset time without prompting by the learner? So just what happens for a spaced learning?
Yeah, so like, feel free to chime in, guys, on this question, but we try to give you as many options to author as possible. So very rarely does someone imagine up a condition when they want to trigger a message that we don't already support. So you can imagine up conditions like Friday at 10 a.m. or on program day 5, or when someone completes something on an LMS, send an API ping, and then let's trigger that message. So there are a lot of different ways to trigger messages to be pushed to learners. And as you imagine them up, they're most likely will be able to support configuring it.
Okay, and I think we have answered most of them. Brenna just asked a new one, but anyone else who's still on, if you have other questions, if you want to put them in the chat, or if I missed them as I was scrolling through, I think Paul and Sterling have been really fast at answering questions, but if you have anything outstanding, please put it in again.
And Paul, as you've been answering questions, and thank you for doing that. I don't know how you can talk and type and read at the same time. It's just beyond me. But thank you for doing that. If there are any questions that you feel like need a little bit more elaboration, I'd be happy to elaborate, or feel free to do so yourself. And Julie, yes, feel free to share this recording with the whole world if you'd like. And especially when the acronym bot that we created, we'd love for you to share that. Because it makes us feel good to make some sort of contribution into the space, and so feel free to share that as well. So the one topic that hasn't come up that I think is really important is one around security and privacy, and I think this is a really important topic overall, not just about chatbots. And so if you think about what's the required user information we would need, or you would need, for the chatbot to interact with your target audience, that really depends on the channel. So if you're deciding, hey, I want to interact with my learners through SMS, you're going to need their phone number in order to send the SMS. But really, that's the only piece of information that you need. You don't need to take their name. That's just a design decision. And then what about the information going back and forth between the user and the chatbot? Again, these are design decisions of how personalized you want the chatbot to be. If you decide you need a highly personalized user experience, the Mobile Coach platform is built for security. So we support HIPAA for anyone in healthcare, of course, GDPR or CAN spam for those of you in Europe or in Canada. So all those workflows, our platform is very secure. And we will also give you some advice on how to choose the appropriate channel and sort of navigating through these design decisions so that your privacy and security team, which typically will oversee and will need to give you permission to use this type of platform within your organization, that they will also be satisfied that we can meet the requirements that they have. So that is increasingly becoming a really big part of chatbot projects, is just making sure that your organization green lights the design and the use of this type of technology. So thank you all for your questions. If we didn't get to your questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Again, you can reach me at vince@mobilecoach.com. Paul and Corey, do you want to quickly share your information, your email address? Maybe they'd like to ask you a question instead of me.
Yes, mine is crichards@mobilecoach.com.
And mine is pbills@mobilecoach.com. And you can also connect with us on LinkedIn, and we monitor that very closely. So if you want to message us there as well, we can do that.
Well, Paul and Corey, thanks for taking some time to join me. It's a lot more fun to do webinars together. So thank you. And thank you all for joining us. This was a lot of fun. And so hopefully you'll tune in. Hopefully you'll sign up for a workshop and get some experience on the Mobile Coach platform. If you do, please give us some feedback. What could be better? What do you like about it? I'm always looking for that. Thank you for joining us again, and hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye, everyone.
Everybody, thanks.